everybody, it's MW Rago here, games, movies, and vlogs. How the hell is everybody? And welcome to episode 2 of Self-Review. Now, I know this video was supposed to be up yesterday, or Sunday really, on Halloween, but the newest episode of Hell of a Boss dropped on Halloween, so yeah, I wasn't able to get to it. I wasn't able to get to this, so I apologize for that. Now, for episode 2 here, I got a request from Instagram follower Judith Rambo03 to review a prehistoric animal movie that has fallen into such obscurity that you really don't hear nobody ever talk about this movie. Talk about it that much, sorry. And that movie is Jurassic Predator from, I believe, 2014 is when this movie came out. Now, this movie, for some odd reason, goes by 2 other titles, which, just, why? And one of the other titles is Predator X. Now, in all honesty, that title I wouldn't mind because that's the actual name of the prehistoric aquatic reptile in this movie. And for those of you who don't know, Predator X is a prehistoric ocean-dwelling reptile that lived in the Jurassic period, hence the name Jurassic Predator. But the other title that this movie goes by, the third title, Alligator X, which makes not 1 ounce of sense because the creature's not an alligator. I mean, does that even look like an alligator to you? I mean, seriously, to you guys, that's not an alligator. I mean, if you're gonna call a creature movie Alligator X, you know, wouldn't it want to be about, you know, a giant alligator? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. So, calling the movie Alligator X when the animal doesn't even look like an alligator whatsoever just doesn't make any sense. I mean, they should have just stuck with Predator X. Like, seriously. But I'm sticking with Jurassic Predator because that's the title that, honestly, I mean, both Predator X and Jurassic Predator make the most sense, but but Jurassic Predator is the one title out of the 3 that makes the most sense. It makes more sense than Predator X, to be honest with you. So, yeah, let's talk about the plot of this movie, because the plot of this movie is just, it's very straightforward, but it's the human cast that is just really, really confusing. So the movie starts off with these 2 cops that are investigating something strange going on, and then something under the water kills both of them, and then roll the opening credits. And these 2 cops are never mentioned again for the rest of this movie, and the movie has a total runtime of literally 90 minutes. So the movie centers around this character here who left the swamp for 15 years to go live in the city, and then she comes back to live with her dad, who apparently has gone missing, and they don't explain why he's just missing. They don't really go into detail about it. And then there's also some other subplot about a bunch of land being bought up for some odd reason, but they don't really go into detail on it yet. They don't go into detail on it. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know a single actor out of this movie except for this dude. And for those of you who are into B-monster movies like myself, you may recognize this guy as the Russian bad guy from Python 2. And if you really know your B-monster movies from the early 2000s, there's the monster movie called Megalodon, where he actually plays a good guy. And yeah, I've only seen the movie Megalodon once from like 2002, and it's a megalodon in the Arctic that starts, you know, chasing people, so yeah. But anyways, his character in this movie, he plays a scientist that was fired from teaching at some university because he wanted to start cloning extinct animals, basically pulling a Jurassic Park, really. And the animal that they do mention that he wanted to bring back to life was this thing. And for those of you who don't know, this is the Tasmanian Tiger, which is actually a prehistoric marsupial that was hunted to extinction by humans. And there is footage of a live specimen of this thing on YouTube where its name was Benjamin, and it was in captivity, and the poor thing died of old age, like in the late 1920s or something like that. So, though this animal has never been in a movie, it was nice that it got mentioned at least. And then you got this character here. This guy's name is Froggy, which, you know, I don't mind nicknames, but his personality, I mean, for 70% of this movie, you actually like this guy. He's just he's a mechanic that fixes the boats or whatever, and he's just like your normal average dude. And then, like, almost towards the end of this movie, he turns out to be it turns out to be a bad guy and says to the main actress that her dad did something to his family and he's held a grudge against her ever since or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It just sounded like it's like he tried to make it sound straightforward, but he really didn't, to be perfectly honest with you. But he dies. He gets blown up in a truck after they hit a tree. Or he hits something and the truck gets set on fire and he blows up. So yeah, like this character is is the pure definition of side character. And then you have this guy. Now this guy here, his character is a Marine who pays the other two characters here $500 for a swamp tour so he could propose to his girlfriend. And what's so weird is he pays $500 in cash. Now, I think this movie plays on the fact that, like, guys who are in the military get paid a shit ton of money. But apparently, the dude that I mentioned in one of my other videos, the guy that I thought was my friend that I don't talk to no more, he told me once that that's not entirely true. That they get paid, they get paid a lot, but not as much as everybody thinks. So I guess this movie was going on that stereotype that people in the service get paid a shitload of money. But sadly, he dies. This guy doesn't last very long at all. So yeah, this poor guy. And the thing is like he doesn't even say. He just randomly, when he says he's a Marine, it just comes out of nowhere. Like literally, half the stuff that happens with the people in this movie, they just come out of nowhere. Like when they say something or something, or they do something, it just comes out of left field in this movie. Like, this movie could have easily benefited from being, like, an hour and 50 or an hour and 40 or 45 minutes long to give a little more characterization to these people. And then you got the sheriff here who, he's probably one of the most likable characters in this whole thing because he just tries to do his job. He's, like, the only one that actually does his job this entire movie. Like, literally. Because he has one partner, which is this dude here, who I swear to Christ has to be one of the worst cops I've ever seen in a creature movie. Like, he refers to the sheriff as bruh, which is very unprofessional, and he just doesn't do anything for most of the movie. He just waits around and, he doesn't take any initiative. Like, you're a freaking cop, dude. Think on your feet, think fast or something. I don't know what. But for 70% of this movie, oh my god, I couldn't stand this guy. And then all of a sudden, towards the end, he actually gets some balls and starts acting like, a cop. But the poor guy dies, he gets shot, and it's like just when you're warming up to this guy, he dies, which really sucks. Again, this movie could have benefited from being a little bit longer, good 10 or 15 minutes longer with some more characterization. So, yeah. And then you have these two. Now, I don't know if these two are Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans because these two here help the scientist guy create Predator X, as clearly you can see by the lab that they're in here. But what is so confusing is, well, I'll talk about that here in a minute, but the dude on the right has like this very chop-top personality, and if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, it's the character that Bill Moseley played in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Chop Top was one of the psychopath family members, and the guy on the right, he acts like Chop Top. He acts so much like Chop Top, it's not even funny. It's like he watched a bunch of horror movies before coming on set, and he just acts crazy this whole time. And then you got the dude on the left who was like the most confusing character for me out of this whole thing, because it's like his dialogue makes him sound like he's retarded or stupid or something, and yet he's helping resurrect a prehistoric aquatic reptile. Like, are you smart or are you not? Like, seriously, I just did not understand this guy at all. Like, seriously, his dialogue made him sound like he's stupid, and the way he acts like he's supposed to be stupid or something like that, and yet he's working in a lab. Like, that just does not make any sense at all, in all perfect honesty. That's like one of my main issues with this thing is that other than, the runtime, is this guy. Like, dude, like I said, he was the most confusing character out of this whole thing. But, these two die, like, the big guy gets stabbed in the eye with a pen, and the other guy gets eaten. So pretty much like a lot of the cast members in this movie die because of either Predator X or they get shot or something. There's like very little people in this entire movie. And now on to the main reason why all y'all are probably watching this video in the first place is Predator X. Now, just look at this thing. This thing, it has a very cool design. But the CGI, of course, you know, it's a B movie. The CGI is not exactly like grand Hollywood quality, but it's like it's a hit or miss. Like some shots she looks decent, and then other shots she just looks really like the CG that I can compare this to, in all honesty, is probably the first probably Boa in some shots. Like she kind of looks like the CGI from Boa, but there's one line that makes no sense at all, which is where the main scientist says, like, oh, she's, before she lays her eggs, she's gonna go into labor. When reptiles don't go into labor, that's not even true. Reptiles don't go into labor. When they're ready to lay their eggs, they just lay their eggs. So that one line just did not make any sense at all. But, oh, and remember Free Willy? Sorry I cut myself off, but remember Free Willy from the 90s? Remember that, 90s... Remember that movie series about the whale? That's probably one of the best 90s movies ever made. There's one shot in Jurassic Predator that stood out to me, and it's this shot right here where Predator X like jumps out of the water over a little bit of land to jump from one side to the other and eat a couple fishermen on a boat. Now, I just got like a lot of Free Willy vibes from this shot. I don't know. I don't know if they were directly referencing Free Willy here, but that's like the one shot that stood out to me the most. Now, whether Predator X was able to do that in real life, I have no idea. But yeah, that was just I don't know why I had to point this scene out, but this is one of the this is like the one standout scene of this entire movie. Now, when it comes to showing it, Predator X only has like 2.5 minutes of screen time out of a 90-minute movie. Now, out of 90 minutes, she should have gotten at least maybe 5.5 minutes. But no, she only has a total of literal 2.5 minutes. Like, I don't know if that was due to budget reasons. It probably was budget reasons that they couldn't show her that much, but seriously, they easily could have. I don't know why they didn't. And I did mention earlier that there was like land being bought up like crazy, and that's because the main scientist character, is buying up a bunch of land to raise Predator X in a natural habitat. So that's pretty much it, in all honesty. So I don't know. And then he goes after the main actress character, goes after her dad's land. You know, that's like the final piece of land that he needs, and you know, she won't sign for it. But then eventually she does, you know, to save her own life from getting fed to Predator X. But then, of course, she almost gets fed to Predator X anyway. And what do you call the Marine's fiance? She lives. Well, he gets ate. So, well, he gets fed to Predator X. And the main actress's dad shows up just out of pure random, just out of nowhere. He gets fed to Predator X. And then her mom shows up, missing an arm, saying that Predator X bit her arm off. I don't know. There's just like stuff happens out of left field, and when it comes to the human characters, like everything just comes out of left field and comes out of nowhere. Like their actions or some of their dialogue when it comes to their characters, it's like it just like I guess the writing could have been a little bit better, or have something that leads up to the human characters doing what they do or saying what they say or whatever. Or just the fact, like I said earlier, this movie could have had an extra 10 minutes with some more characterization in it. And then there's this crazy scene right here where the sheriff gets literally stuck up in a tree for like 20 full minutes. Well, not 20 full minutes, but there's like a pretty small chunk of this movie where Predator X just attacks him and Froggy out on a boat, and he's stuck in a tree. He's just stuck in a tree on this random ladder against the tree. But this doesn't make any sense. And he becomes underutilized for a little bit of the movie. And then at the end, Predator X just hauls herself onto land, and what's so crazy is her roar is Mighty Joe Young's roar. Like, seriously, anybody who has seen Mighty Joe Young and this movie would recognize Mighty Joe Young's roar in a heartbeat. And then, towards the end, you know, she just gets blown up by dynamite. So overall is I know I've rambled on about this movie or whatever, and I pointed out so many odd things with it. And is this movie really worth your time? If you're a serious B movie fanatic like I am, then go and watch it. It does go by really quick. Like the pacing is really fast, and then despite Predator X having 2.5 minutes of screen time total, they pepper her throughout the movie, so you see her quite a bit. It's just they're always in like really quick shots. So is this movie really worth your time? If you're a die-hard creature movie fan, that's the only group of people I can actually recommend this movie to. Or if you're a fan of dinosaurs in general. If you're a fan of dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures, then watch this movie. And if you're a fan of B movies, watch this movie. But anybody else, it depends if you want to watch it or not. So what score do I give this out of 10? I am definitely giving this movie this movie is getting a 6 out of 10. Like the movie should have been longer for characterization. When it comes to the characters, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of left field, and it's like, oh wait, what? When were you like this, or when did this happen, or whatever. And also, there's the one of the two other guys that helped make Predator X that was very confusing. So those are like the three main flaws that this movie has. But overall, it's like a pretty decent, like 90 minutes long, in all honesty. So this movie definitely gets a not a 6. This movie gets a 5.5 out of 10 for me, in all honesty. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that video. I know I tried to keep this video shorter than 20 minutes here. So yeah, I hope you, like I said, I hope you all enjoyed it. Please watch till the very end of this video to know where to follow me on my social media. So please be sure to like, share, subscribe. You all know the drill by now. So yeah, this is Tim W. Rago, and I'm going to say peace out, everybody. And that movie Megalodon that I mentioned, will I tackle it if I can ever find the damn movie? Probably. But in all honesty, no spoilers on what movie I'm going to do next. Every movie I do is going to be random. So please say in the comments what episode you want me to do, or what creature movie you want me to do. So yeah, this is Tim W. Rago, and I'm going to say peace out, everybody, and see you all this Sunday when I tackle episode 3, or when I do episode 3.